need to import OpenAI, import warnings and warnings.filter warnings, ignore. You need to do it because it's very important for you on an individual level to understand that all of the codes that you would be getting, they sometimes give a lot of warnings over here. So it is a better idea, right? It is a far better idea if you can just take a hold of this, right? You can just ignore the warning so that you are not getting a lot of red color over here. Okay, then the next part that we are basically kind of trying to do is that there is OpenAI key over here, OpenAI.API underscore key. And what basically happens with this particular portion is that you can give your API key over here, and this basically OpenAI is not opening. OpenAI, if it is not opening, it basically means that your installation process is not properly completed. Are you getting my point, guys? Have you installed this, by the way? Can you give me a confirmation for this? Have you installed it? So if you have installed it, then next part is that have you restarted it? I mean, there is a single learner who has given me the question that he is not able to import. Okay. So everybody, guys, can you give me a confirmation for this? Everybody, are you there? Have you installed it and then restarted it? Everybody. So now after this is done, what you basically are expected to do, okay, then I think installation, I mean importing this given portion should not be a very big problem for all of you guys. Okay. Now after this is done, you have to import it, you have to initialize the API key, and then there are prompts that you need to write. So prompt is that you are an assistant helping the customer service. Here are some of the interactions. And then this was a few short learning methods. So few examples are something that you gave. Are you getting my point, guys? What you did? You gave a few examples, okay, over here. And now after this is done, what you basically need to do over here is that you need, like you gave some examples, like I'm a mentor. So let's say I do the thing once, twice, thrice, and then I ask you guys to do the same thing. It's like few shot learning. More details about few shot learning is basically something which is available in this document, which I have already shared with you. So unless and until you go through this document on your own in detail, I don't think the session will make any sense to you guys, right? Now after this is done, the next part over here is that you have given some examples that this is how you are expected to interact. Okay, and now after this is done, what basically needs to be implemented over here is that you need to kind of get an idea, you need to kind of get an overview about these options over here. Are you getting my point, guys? Everybody. So you gave one example, the second example, third example, and then you gave a problem, and now you are asking the Python interpreter that can you please help us in any way in this given scenario. Okay, so that is basically something that you are asking the Python interpreter, I mean OpenAI ChatGPT model to do. And this is the token. Response is equal to openai.completion.create, because you are asking to complete the given statement, right? What should come over here. And depending on that, you guys are basically expected to move ahead with the next part. Is it making sense, everybody, guys, to all of you? Now, after this is done, when you are giving this openai.completion.create, you need to have some things specified over here. So engine, because there are multiple engines, prompt is basically that text which you need to give, which will prompt that LLM model. And the third thing that you guys are having is max tokens, which is the maximum number of tokens that you are having. And last is temperature, which is used for controlling the randomness, right? Now, after this is done, the next part over here is that you need to get the choices. In the response, you will get multiple choices. So you would select the first choice, you would get a text out of that first choice, and you will strip that, or you will write that in a proper format. Okay. Now, after this particular portion is done, the next part over here is that error handling in the above code. So we got the error, as I told you, that we are using the free version of ChatGPT. Okay, everybody, guys. And since we are using the free version of ChatGPT, hence there is a limit which I have already exhausted. Maybe you might get the answer, but I have already exhausted that limit. Okay, that is why this is basically something that is kind of expected to be implemented over here, right? Now, after this is done, the next part over here with which you are expected to work is that you are making a request. You are creating a make request function. Max retries is 5, retry count is 0. And while that retry count is less than the max tries, you will try to send these prompts, except the rate limit error, okay, in which you will again keep on trying. But if it's a free version, believe me, you will keep on getting error and you can't do anything about it. But the good part is that if you learn from this, and if you go out there in corporate industry, and if you start working with the same code, then I think this is basically something that you need to move ahead with. Okay, so I think you would be able to definitely complete that with proper format over there. Okay, now after this is done, the next part over here is example. Prompt is equal to translate to French, I love you. And then you make that request. It will retry and still you get the same error because you are not having the paid version. Similarly, you can ask a direct straightforward question, right, to ChatGPT, true or false, this given statement, right? And depending on that, ChatGPT is basically something that will definitely help you. Okay. Now, after this is done, next part over here is you should already know what is engine prompt, max tokens. Max tokens is basically the number of tokens or words that should be taken into consideration over here. Okay. Now, after this is done, the next part that I need to understand is what will you do with so many functions. Now, I know this because I have been working with this, right? You know this because you are aware of this right now. But in this OpenAI library, there are so many different functions that are available over here. Okay. That is why it is very important for all of you guys at an individual level to understand that there is a help function associated. Okay. And this help function is basically something which will really help you in a lot of situations, right? Now, after this is done, the next part is chain of thoughts prompting, and like few shots prompting is one method. Similarly, there is chain of thoughts prompting. In chain of thoughts prompting, what basically happens is that you have a prompt, right? And then there are different multiple steps included in that, right? So solve the following problem step by step. If a car travels at 60 km per hour for 2 hours, how much it travels? And step one is find the speed, which is 60 km per hour. Find the time and then multiply them, right? So it is a very simple problem. But through this method, what we are telling ChatGPT over here is that we are basically telling that ChatGPT model to perform a series of steps in order to reach the final answer. Now, this is a very simple example, okay, that we are basically moving ahead with. Otherwise, you can also move ahead with directly giving the question. But since I wanted to explain this thing to you, that is why I'm using this particular portion. Okay, now after this is done, the next thing over here with which all of you guys are kind of expected to work with, it is basically revolving around the response over here. So again, same which engine you want, what is the prompt, what are the maximum number of tokens that you need to work around with. And depending on that, you need to have the temperature set over here, right? So this is basically something with which you guys are kind of expected to move ahead with. Okay, everybody, are you clear with this? Now, after this is done, are you guys having any questions, doubts, concerns in this? Okay, perfect. So now let's try to move ahead with the next part over here. So what you're basically going to do in the next part over here is that you are basically going to move ahead with role-based prompting, another prompting method. Now, what is this role-based prompting method? In this role-based prompting method, what is basically going to happen is that you are going to tell a role or assign a role to the model. And depending on that, you are basically expected to move ahead with the next part, right? So this is basically something that all of you guys are kind of expected to understand. So you're telling that you're a technical support agent, right? And depending on that, there is a customer who has requested to be in touch with you. This is the following issue, and you can get in touch with them, right? Now, after this is done, the next thing over here is, yeah, contextual prompting. In contextual prompting, what basically happens is that you're going to give a context to the model, right? And depending on that context, you will maybe tell to write a story. Here we have told that you have to just write a single paragraph or something like that, right? And then depending on that, you guys are basically expected to move ahead with the next part, correct? Now, after this is done, everybody guys, after this is done, let us try to move ahead with the next part. Takes 30 seconds, see that you're getting this context, and then you're asking that write the opening para of the story. That's the total part. And then after this is done, you're sending that response and then again getting the output, right? Now, after this particular section is completed, let us try to move ahead with the next part over here. So now what you guys are basically doing over here is that you are basically expected to have temperature and top speed adjustments, right? So what is basically happening over here is that you will control temperature for more creativity. High temperature is higher creativity. And top P means higher number of or higher probability density values. Basically means that is for more options to be taken into consideration. Okay. Now, after this particular portion is done, right, everybody, let us try to move ahead with the next option. So this is one section or this is one part over here. Now, after this is done, the next part over here is let's try to move ahead with another prompt sending example. So what you are basically doing is, let's write example. Import OpenAI is already done, right? Key is also something which we have already done. Now you have defining a function for few short prompt. Okay. So now let's have the name simple, right? Let's give the same name. Def few short prompt, comma examples, comma model is equal to uh which was the model that we used over here? Okay, max tokens equal to 100, and after that you have prompt text is equal to prompt plus backward slash and examples slash and backward slash and now for example in examples prompt underscore text is equal to prompt underscore text plus equal to input example input example square bracket input. Okay. And after that you have backward slash and output example output backward slash. Now after that is done, response is equal to OpenAI dot completion dot create engine is equal to model prompt is equal to prompt text and max tokens is equal to max tokens, and depending on that you are returning response dot choices square bracket 0 dot text dot string. And then you would be doing examples for the prompt. So this is the writing of the function. After that you would be doing examples for the prompt. So examples are equal to a list of dictionary of input, right? And then you have translate to French. Good morning, comma, output is on your input translate to French. How are you? And output is comment, uh, right? So write this much portion in your laptop, guys. Sir, the assessments of the challenge are not available. I think the course coordinators will add it, don't worry. Now, after this is done, the next is prompt is equal to translate to French. I love result is equal to few short prompt comma examples print result. Again, you will get that rate limit error. Where is the prompt comma output? No, O should be small. Completion dot create. Now I think you will get rate limit. Now the code is correct. Yes. So take a minute, go through this. So this is a function that we have created over here, and I think this is definitely going to work very well. Take 1 or 2 minutes to type this, guys. So now after this is done, let us try to move ahead with the next part over here. I hope you have written that code. Now let's try to move ahead with the next example that I have. So the next example is using context to guide responses, right? So let's have prompt is equal to, and what's the prompt? You are a seasoned software engineer with expertise in Python, AI, and machine learning. Okay, you are helping a junior developer. Okay, you are helping a junior developer understand how to implement a convolutional neural network. Okay, CNN using TensorFlow. Then you have junior developer. I am struggling to understand how to build CNN. Can you explain the entire process through a sample code? Okay. And then senior developer is something which is you. So you are expected to get this. So response is equal to OpenAI dot completion dot create engine is equal to this same one. Prompt is the prompt that we are going to set. Max tokens is something that we want as 500 because it would be lines of code and everything. And then you have printing the output, print response dot choices dot text dot stripe. Okay, write this code in your laptop. This is kind of revision and kind of redoing the revision in with different examples. Concept is same. I'm revising the things itself, but I'm revising with some different examples of the same topic. Okay. Take your time for this and Let's wait for 2 minutes. Let's wait for everybody to type it. So 2 more minutes, guys. Please quickly type this and do let me know if you are having any questions or doubts on this. Now, after this is done, the next part over here is one more example of role-based prompting, right? One more example for role-based prompting. So prompt is equal to so over here what we are basically going to do is role is math tutor. Student is I am having trouble understanding the concept of derivatives in calculus. Can you explain it to then we have math tutor and then response is equal to AI dot completion dot create engine is equal to same thing, right? The prompt that we are having is equal to prompt and max tokens are equal to 150. And then we have printing the output print response dot choices dot text dot stripe, and this should work. Okay, take your time for this, guys. Next example. So the assessment which we have to complete are not available on the website to do, and I think they will add it. They may not have added it, but they will add it today. Don't worry about it. Guys, please quickly type this. This is another example for role-based prompting, and I think this is definitely something that will turn out to be really fruitful for all of you guys. So guys, now after this is done, let's do one thing. Let's take a small break of 10 minutes, everybody, and then we will continue with our examples. Let's resume at 18:08. Okay, thank you. So let us get started, guys, with the session, right? So now next example that I have for all of you guys, it's basically about step by step instructions, right? Now basically what is happening over here is that prompt is equal to you are an AI assistant that provides step by step instructions. Explore how to set up a virtual environment, virtual environment in Python. Okay, now one, and that's it. So step number one. So you want a step-by-step response from the large language model. Response is equal to OpenAI dot completion dot create engine is equal to prompt is equal to prompt and max tokens is equal to 150. And then you are printing the out print response dot choices square bracket 0 dot text dot script. Again, rate limit error, otherwise you would have got the response. Right? Take your time for this, everybody, guys. So now after this is done, everybody, guys, one more minute and then let's move ahead with the next example. Okay. Now let's try to move ahead with the next example, right? And in this next example, what we are basically going to do is that we are basically going to give examples, right? Let's try to move ahead with it. So providing examples and explanations, right? Prompt is equal to explain the difference between list and tuples in Python with examples, right? Now let's try to move ahead with the next part, which is list response is equal to AI dot completion dot create engine is equal to this prompt is equal to prompt and max tokens is equal to 150 output. Print response dot choice square bracket 0 dot text dot what is completion, right? So you can ask the chat GPT for examples to be provided. So guys, I'm receiving one comment. Yes, sure. So I am trying my level best, guys, to make sure that you are getting different examples over here, right? So what is prompt engineering? This is what prompt engineering is. You are learning the art of writing the prompts in such a way that whatever is the output that you would be getting, right? That output is basically something, it should be optimal. Like it's your responsibility to make sure that the optimal that output that you are getting, it should be optimal enough. One more minute, guys, on this. I'm hoping that you are typing this in your laptop. Now, after this is done, let's try to move ahead with the next part over here, which is generating creative content. Prompt is equal to write a short story about a robot who discovers the meaning of friendship. Story, and then you have response is equal to OpenAI dot completion dot create engine is equal to prompt is equal to comma max underscore tokens is equal to, and then getting the output. Current response dot choices dot text dot stripe. Okay, so this is yet another example over here for generating some creative story. Earlier we had one example where we asked the model to give us the first paragraph. Now we are asking for story. So guys, are you clear with this? Everybody, can I move ahead or you're still typing? So today what my aim was that if everybody is asking, I mean, if in an interview any person is asking that, can you please write a prompt for us if this is a question, then you should at least know the basic ways, basic methodologies and the syntax that how prompt needs to be sent, right? Now let us try to move ahead with the next example over here, and this is very important. Data analysis prompts, right? So data analysis and interpretation. Now what you need to do over here is prompt is basically equal to given the following sales data, analyze the trends and provide insight. January, then February, then March, then April, then May, and then insights. So response is equal to openai.completion.create engine, whatever engine you want. Prompt is basically the prompt that we are trying to send, and max tokens is equal to 150. And then you have output where you have print response dot choices square bracket 0 dot text dot strip, which gives us this particular part. So this example is very interesting for us because in this particular example, what is happening is that you are actually what you can say doing some data analysis. So you will see the power of data analysis being done over here. Try to type it, guys. Now, after this is done, there is a very interesting example, and I think that will definitely help you, which is code debugging example. So you write it, after that there is a code debugging example. Now, after this is done, the next interesting part which I was actually telling you about, it's debugging the code or asking the ChatGPT to debug your code for you. Right, so this is a really interesting part, right? Because you're learning coding and it may happen seldom that you may need help to resolve your issues or doubts. So you can do that now with the help of ChatGPT. You are a Python expert, point number one. And below is a piece of code that contains errors. Identify the errors and provide the corrected code. Now, what we are expected to do over here is that there is code which is def add underscore numbers a comma b, which is return a plus b. Corrected code, and after that you have response is equal to openai.completion.create engine is equal to this. Okay. Now after this is done, prompt will basically remain equal to prompt, and maximum token size is something that you can specify. I think 150 or 100 tokens is more than sufficient. Let's have 100 itself. And then after that, you have printing the output, which is print responses dot choices square bracket 0 dot text dot string. And the chat GPT will help, like whatever is the code. I'm not saying that in such simple codes itself, it will help, right? It will help you basically in all the options or all the codes. Take your time for this, guys. Now, after this is done, let us have one final example, right? After which you can, you can fill the feedback form and we will wrap up, which is providing summaries. So prompt is equal to basically summarize the following article in 3 sentences. Article: artificial intelligence AI is rapidly evolving and becoming an integral part of various industries. Now, from healthcare to finance, AI is improving efficiency, accuracy, and decision making. However, ethical concerns and the need for regulation are also growing as AI continues to advance. Is it making sense, guys? Now, summary, and after that, response is equal to OpenAI dot completion dot create engine is equal to prompt is equal to prompt comma max tokens is equal to 1, and then you have output print response dot choices dot text dot string. Another good example of asking for summaries over here. Take a minute and write this in your laptop, guys. So guys, I hope this particular portion, yes, Janvi, yeah, we will wrap up the session. And I hope this particular session that we completed, I hope it gives a really good overview to all of you guys about writing the prompts. Okay, I'm giving you the coding file. And yeah, thank you everybody for attending the session. Good night, and let's meet again on Saturday. Bye. Thank you.